So once you've gone to the website, you click on this little plus button so you can get the right dimensions, and we want to set it up as an A5 page because that's going to be the size of the book. So you change it from pixels to centimeters, and then you should type in 15 and 21 because that's the width and the height of the page. Of course, if you do a drawing that's lying down, you can change it up because then it's easier to draw. And then I like to have a white background. So then I'm gonna click create. And it did not have white background. Okay. Now comes the fun part of choosing the picture you want to draw. You can find lots of really interesting ones here on the university's digital image collections. I've already done a bit of curating for you, so you can also choose between this one. I've already chosen one, so I'm gonna put it in like this. I'm gonna choose this one, so click on it, then I copy it, and then I have the arrow here, so I paste it. There we are. I'm gonna make it a bit bigger. This is the flower that I'm gonna focus on. Yes, and then yeah, as you can see, you can make it bigger or smaller by pulling in these little arrows once you have the arrow over here. I'm not going to zoom in on it more here, but I am going to zoom in on the overall drawing, so you can either fit it to the page like this. So this is how the whole drawing is going to look like once it's finished, but we're going to go zoom in a bit on the flower. And now to the fun part of actually drawing. First, there is this function if you click on the image with the arrow that you can sort of edit the picture, and I'm not going to do it for this one, but if there's a lot of color on the picture you've chosen, it might help to make it more opaque, then that way you can better see your own lines. I'm going to have it like this, and then I'm going to show you two functions that I usually use. The first one is to put in geometrical figures, and for this one I'm going to use the circle. I don't want any filling in it, and I want the line width to be 1, but you can choose that for yourself. And then you just make your circle. I'm gonna then go back to the arrow because then I can sort of change it, maybe if I can here, so I can put it right where I want it, like this. And then I'm gonna like that. And then I will press Ctrl C on my keyboard and Ctrl V in order to copy and paste it. Maybe. Yes. So I'm gonna take this new circle, make it a bit bigger so it fits with the flower. That was a bit too much. So like this. I think that's good. I'm gonna choose this other circle if it wants to. Another way to choose to mark the thing you want to move is to click on this button called layers. Then you can see the image is this big one, and then I have 3 circles and I'm hoping this one is the last one. And it was. So make this a bit bigger. Don't know why it keeps doing that. The Sketchpad tool had an update recently, and I'm not sure I'm a fan of the new one. So I think this will probably fit, and then I'm gonna hopefully copy that one as well. And then this will be the last circle in this one, I think. Yes, like this. So I'm gonna delete this one. And now for the more challenging part, to make these ones. I'm not gonna choose the pencil because that's way too much freedom for online sketching for me. I'm gonna choose this one that's called Path. And I also want this one to be 1 point, 1 pixel. And it works in this way that you click, and then when you click on the next point, you can sort of pull it, and then you can make a path, a rounded kind of drawing. And you can do the same with the next one, and you can go back, move the points, and control by this how much of a wave it's gonna have. You can also go back to the first one, and then if you actually want the line to end at the same point, you can click on the first point and it will close the path. But that's not always what you want. So you can also, with this one, you can also just make straight lines. So that's a little triangle. And if you double click on the point, it will close. You can also make an open line, if you want to call it that. You can just double click on the last point where you want it to end, and it will close it. So you now have this little drawing. I think in order to make these ones, I'm gonna zoom in a bit more. Yes. So I click on the first point that I want, and then I pull it out a bit. And sometimes with this, it's sort of try and error for if you can get it to sort of fit, and then you can go back and adjust again for how you want it. And if it's very curvy, you might want to have more points that you can control. So I think I'll put one here as well to make it a little bit smoother. And once you're happy with it, you, as I said, double click here, and then you have the line. And then it's just on to the next sort of petal here. And now, because I want to move the first point a little bit, but I can't do that without closing the path, I'm gonna say Control Z so that it deletes the last point I made, and then I can move the first point. And you can always, if you're not good with the using your keyboard to do things, you can always undo stuff on this button. And once you've undone it, you will see that it also has a button that's called redo, so that you can, if it's a mistake that you undid it, you can redo it again. Here we are, that's the last inner petal, and then there is this curved line outside. So I'll make that one as well. I think if you put this sort of in the middle, you only need to do this and you will have a more symmetrical one. Right. And then, because as you can see, the next line won't be going the way I want it to, so I'm going to close this path, and then I'll make a new one in the same spot. Then like that, I think. Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna use the zoom function to make it to be able to see everything. Then I'll go back to my arrow here and delete these little figures I made for your viewing. Then I always, before I finish the drawing completely, I move the original picture back and then I see if I've missed anything. So I think that looks pretty good. I'm then gonna delete this picture just by using the delete button. And then you might want to do this. So I'm gonna mark, if I can, everything I made in the flower to make it a bit bigger. And I might move it around. So I have the little finished flower here, and I think I want to have 2 on the page. So I mark up everything, and then I click on this options button with the 3 little buttons, and I say copy. And then I also say paste, and I have a new one that I can then move. But you have to be careful when you move it that you don't first click somewhere else, because then it won't have, chosen all the different parts. But yeah, so now I have 2 flowers on the page, and I think that looks pretty good. You could also do like this. So I'm gonna delete one flower here, or delete one part, and then I'll just mark up this whole thing, make it a bit bigger, move it to the center, and add some text. So I'll click on the big T. Today I'm just gonna go with the one it's already chosen for me, but there are lots of different fonts you could use. I only wanted to have the outline, but you can fill it if you want to. But I like to have just the outline, so that way you can also color in the text. Then you just click and you make a little point here for your text. I can't really see what I'm writing right here, so I'm gonna move it maybe. Back to the arrow so you can move it. Then if you double click, you can edit. Maybe if I just do this, and then I'll make the div part a little bit bigger. Yes, and back to the arrow so I can center it. Yes, I think that looks pretty good. So now I think my drawing is completely done, and I want to export it. So I click on the disk icon, and I'm gonna just download it as a JPEG file today. And then you just, as you saw, just clicked and it downloads it, and you will find it in your downloads. You can also, if you click on this open button, you can see all the drawings that you've made in this browser, so it remembers that. But yeah, I've only made one that's interesting here. And I think that was it. So have fun with this new sketching tool.